Okay, Keith, thank you for coming in today.
No worries.
Doing this interview with Inspired GM.
That's a pleasure.
Keith, tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm Keith. I'm from a company called Seven Brothers, and we're a family brewery based in Salford, in Greater Manchester, and we make craft beer. We've been established. We've been trading for 5 and a bit years now, since July 2014. Our brewery is located right near Media City in Salford Keys. We are Salford boys, born and bred. I should point out as well, one of the most common questions we do ever get asked is, are we actually Seven Brothers? And the answer is yes. Yeah, we are Seven Brothers, and we're all fully involved in the business. And yeah, we've just gone on from strength to strength over the last 5 years. So
with Seven Brothers, how many times did you fall out?
A lot. There is never ever a dull moment. Put it that way. You think you know your brothers growing up, but when you start working with them, oh my God, you get to know them in a different light. But it's we're 5 years in now. Yeah. We've come through many milestones. And lots of ups and downs. We've all kind of found our way. We've all fell into our roles naturally within the business. Yeah. And we're just ploughing ahead and going from strength to strength.
How did you get into craft beer? I mean, why?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people do ask us that. Yeah. And the inspiration, really, if I'm going right back, is from our dad. From helping him make homebrew. We all got into it pretty much, as we were growing up at different stages. Yeah. We all got into it that way. As we got older, a few of us became more interested in drinking it than making it. But most of us kept a hand in it. And but it's just one of those things that you never consider as a career. You just don't think of it. Yeah. Especially while we were growing up. But it wasn't until when we've always been quite entrepreneurial. Our parents were with their own businesses throughout their whole working lives. So we've always been looking for a business that we could all do together. A few of us have tried businesses here and there. Yeah. 2 of us, 3 of us, different things. Some have been all right, have been successful. Some haven't been as successful.
This is while the Seven Brothers Brewery.
Yeah, but we're knowing the years before, as we all kind of were going through our. Most of us are qualified engineers. We have a teacher in our, in the family. Quite a few teachers in the family. One was a professional sportsman for most of his career. Right. But the common theme always was this desire to work together, and we just didn't know it, that at the time as we were growing up, that making beer could become an option. And it wasn't until one of us was working as a freelancer in Oslo 6-7 years ago now, where the inspiration really kind of kicked in. The craft beer scene out there at the time, and still is, was just incredible. There was nothing quite like it in Manchester as far as I could see. Maybe in London there were 1 or 2 venues that were doing it. Yeah. But the original idea was to open up a brew pub, open up a really cool bar where the brewing equipment was there, front and centre, from tank to tap. Yeah. And that was the original idea. But it wasn't until I came home, discussed it with a few of the brothers, that we thought, no, we all loved making beer. Let's, and we still do. Some of us were still making it as a hobby. Let's go for it. Let's start the brewery first, and the bars will come, second. And that's essentially how it's all kind of happened and where we are today.
It must be a challenge, though, to start your own brewery and then open up a bar as well.
Yeah, it is challenging because in the 3 years that we've been operating, or was it 2 years actually? Yeah, in the 2 years that we've been operating the brewery, which is a manufacturing facility, really. At the end of the day, it's just a process plant making liquid, which happens to be beer. We then decided, with funding that we'd just acquired, to open up our first bar, our Seven Brothers Beer House in Manchester city centre, in Ancoats.
In Ancoats, yeah.
We had to go through a whole new learning curve, because it's essentially a retail operation, a high street retail operation. So we've learnt a lot, in the 5 years to where we are today. But there's enough of us to be able to withstand the pressures that it takes to get to know how to run different types of businesses. And we've come through it. Yeah, we're about to open up our second beer house as well, which is, it's actually in Salford, which is great, for us because we are Salford born and bred.
Yeah.
But it's just on the outskirts of the city centre. But if you're not from, the city, you still think it was Manchester city centre. It's in a development called Middlewood Locks.
Right.
And and that's where we're at right now. Yeah.
So when you started this, you went to the bank
Yep.
for funding, because we know that
Mm-hmm.
Seven Brothers are noted for the crowdfunding, and
Yeah,
you
sure.
managed to raise, how
Mhm.
much was that?
Over 2 rounds, we've raised £950,000 over the 2 rounds. So we've had 2 rounds of crowdfunding now. The first round in 2016 was £200,000. The second round was £750,000 in January of this year, 2019.
You make it
So-
sound easy to do, is it?
No, it's extremely difficult. You've got to have a plan. You have to have your numbers ready. As a matter of fact, the first time was a lot easier than the second time around. We were the new kids on the block. We hadn't had a track record of that we had to, the promises that for any promises that we'd made to investors at that point.
Yeah.
Second time though, we'd made many promises and we'd achieved most of them, but there was 1 or 2 that we hadn't, because things happen in business and opportunities can arise at any time, and we took the opportunity to relocate our brewery into a much bigger facility. And obviously that's with a lot of capital expenditure and infrastructure changes, that's going to take a toll on some of the other plans you may have. So,
And of course you were paying yourself wages.
yeah, as well. We as the business stands at the moment, there are 4 of the brothers working full time within the business. The other 3 of our brothers, the amount of work and effort that they put in may as well be full time. It's just they've decided to just carry on with their careers at the moment until the time is ready for them to come and join full time, and that's soon. We have 32 amazing people working with us right now.
32?
32, yeah. We've gone from 2 to, in our first couple of months to 32 where we are now in after 60 months. So there's a lot. It's been such a learning curve. It's been incredible. But funding, is it's essential for any business startup. It's absolutely fundamental for growth. And yes, the high street banks helped us out initially.
Yeah.
Has there been an appetite to kind of carry on with that from a high street point of view? Not necessarily. It's been quite difficult. But there are many ways of getting money. The funding that you need to grow a business. And we chose the route of crowdfunding.
Would you recommend that to anybody starting a similar business to yourself to go into crowdfunding rather than the high street bank?
I guess it's it's horses for courses. You've got to whatever suits your business. The reason why we went crowdfunding rather than persevering to try and get money from a more traditional route is the crowdfunding model actually suits a company like ours. Everything's about the experience, the product, and what better way than raising money and at the same time bringing on hundreds and if not thousands of investors who become your biggest ambassadors. So it suits the model of the business really.
They
so that
become your
was a factor.
customers
They
as well.
become your customers, your ambassadors, your sales people. They invested in you for a reason. So why wouldn't they, shout about you from the highest rooftops? It's it's a good model for this type of business that we're in.
And did you know that you was going to get into the alcohol trade then when you started out? Did you? You said that you did the home brew with your father.
Yeah, no, it was never. We never ever thought, growing up, even in your late teens, when you're having experimenting, making your own home brew, we never considered it to be a viable career prospect. So we all just went off, got qualified, became engineers, etc. And I don't know if we were teenagers now. Yeah, I think so, quite possibly, because from when we started, 1,300 breweries were in existence. There are now well over 3,000 in the UK. And so the profile of having your own craft brewery is much higher and widespread than it would have been 20 years ago when we were all kids.
So you you borrowed from the bank, then you went into crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm.
Who inspired you to do the crowdfunding? I mean, have you got a backer, have you? Or
no, there was inspiration, and I have to admit, it was from companies just like us who were making beer.
Yeah.
And it's BrewDog. BrewDog inspired us that model for raising money was a viable proposition. So we set to work to try and to achieve that. We knew what we had to do. The platforms. There are platforms out there that help you raise. There are quite a few out there.
Yeah.
We chose this particular platform because of its track record, and you get help and guidance on the way. So there are certain requirements you have to meet. There's a lot of due diligence. You have to prove that the figures that you're stating to potential investors are true. It's a difficult. It isn't just a rock up and give us your money type of scenario. There's a lot of due diligence and work and effort that goes into convincing somebody that you're worth a bet.
Just before I go on to the products, was there ever a doubt in the business that it wouldn't last, and you just thought about, should we chuck it in and jump back into our old jobs?
No, never.
Never give up.
I always think, if whenever you're setting out in business, it's good to have the vision. You've got to walk into these things with an open mind and an informed opinion. However, the daily life cycle of the business ups and downs are inevitable. So for every high, there's just as many lows. But it's all about baby steps. You've just got to take it one step at a time. And not let things get you down too much. Surround yourself with talented individuals, take the right advice, and you put yourself in a good position to be able to succeed. Because doing it by yourself, it can be a lonely, scary place at times.
Isolation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're taking on the breweries, aren't you, that have got millions behind them?
Yeah. If you went with that viewpoint, you wouldn't start these things. So you shouldn't and can't go with that kind of frame of mind. In this particular industry, the craft, when we first got into it, craft beer was in its infancy. Some may say it still is.
Yeah.
And we just thought, well, do you know what? There's enough room for another player here, somebody else to come and try their hand at being a success in the craft beer industry, and we thought we could do a job here, and create a really good, successful business. So, never let the bigger companies put you off. Just go for it.
Yeah. Believe in your product.
Believe in yourself, believe in your product, but at the same time surround yourself with talented individuals, talented advisors, and you just to put yourself in the best position possible.
And speaking about products, how many do you do? How many have you got?
Well, we have, we're a craft brewer, and the whole kind of ethos of, from for an artisan craft producer, drinks producer, is to be as experimental as possible. So we do have a core range. We have a core range of beers of styles that we like to drink. Thankfully, quite a lot of the population like to drink as well.
How many is that then?
So we have a core range of 7. So we have an IPA, a lager, a stout. There's one in particular we have. It's a watermelon wheat beer. It took us over a year to perfect, but we persevered with it. Yeah. So there's 7 core. We have other beers which are, it's like these in front of us here really, which are born from a partnership. Really, it's an actual partnership with Kellogg's. Yeah,
you've done one with cornflakes. Are these all cornflakes?
They're not all cornflakes, no, but they're all Kellogg's upcycled cereals, which we kind of got into the partnership with Kellogg's in a roundabout way, and it was all about being a craft brewer, where we did a collaboration beer with another brewer. We decided to put cornflakes in it and call it a cornflake milkshake IPA. And Kellogg's got wind of this, and they approached us and said, listen, we really love what you've done. We have surplus grains, our cereal that we either have to give away to animal feed or to good causes, etc.
Yeah.
That we just can't, there's not enough outlets for us to use it for, because it's cereal that hasn't made the grade into the box. So it might be perfectly edible, but it may be misshapen, clumped together, maybe slightly the wrong shade, been overbaked.
Is this the byproduct that they give to schools as well?
Exactly, yeah. To schools, to animal feed, to garden centres, maybe to even use as compost, etc. So they had this 10-year plan, which was all about the sustainability, environmental issues, food waste issue.
Right.
And we've partnered with us to take their surplus grain, use it in our production of 3 amazing craft beers that we've got here, which equates to about 1/3 of the grain bill. And some of the proceeds go to to charities, etc., to other things like that.
Yeah.
And we are just going to carry on making these. They've become part of their own separate range, because they do address many issues which a lot of people find quite important to them. And that's just one of many partnerships and collaborations that we're all about, really.
I was going to speak to you about collaboration.
Yeah.
'Cause in business, we feel collaboration is very important to survive.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great for just to be part of that, the beer community. Collaborating with huge companies like Kellogg's is massive for a relatively small brewery like ourselves.
Was that lucky because of the fact that Kellogg's are based in Manchester?
Maybe. There is that proximity. There are other synergies there as well. We're a family business. Yeah. Everything we do really is pretty much about family, being a part of a community, inclusivity, honesty, and Kellogg's I think have many of the same values. So there's many synergies there as well as proximity. But it's great. The UK headquarters has been here in this region for many years. Yeah. So it's you might call it luck, but do you make your own luck? I don't know. Yeah.
But it is a good product, and I've tasted it myself, and so I can't wait to taste it again.
Put that one side for later.
Yeah. Here's one I'll drink later. So, what's the future plans for the business, as in bars? The business plan.
We've got an ambitious but achievable plan. We intend to have 8 of the beer houses online by the end of 2022. That'll in itself, I'll have a direct impact on the brewery itself. So 8 bars in 3 years. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because we're almost there at the end of this year. It's ambitious, but it's achievable. As well as our vertical integration, if you like, which is opening up our own bars for us to supply the majority of the beer to. Is that that's your guaranteed way of getting your products out there, isn't it? It's just it makes sense for a brewer to do that. It's nothing new. Breweries have been doing it for hundreds of years. They've all owned their own bars. But opening up a bar, people are going to expect food, aren't they? Yeah. So you've got to have that offering. We're really mindful as well of supporting the community where we're based. Yeah. So we have it's not just our own beers that we sell in our bars. We have artisan wines, spirits, other breweries' products as well. We'll definitely champion them in whichever city that we're going to be opening a bar in. But as well as that's one strand to the business. We're going to have to grow the business on the off trades. That's in different regions. So we've recently doubled our sales force to cover Yorkshire and Merseyside and beyond. And then as well, from a retail perspective as well, we have ambitions. We've got a certain amount of retail exposure right now from the convenience sector. So we've got co-op booths, spa, Selfridges, and more to come. But the brewery's in a position now to be able to open negotiations and talks with some of the larger supermarkets. So we've got a three-pronged attack in terms of strategy. But yeah, lots of things have to change to make sure we can meet demand. So the brewery always ends up being the most important aspect of the business, to make sure that is in a position to be able to deliver.
And what's been the biggest success for Seven Brothers? Would you say?
The biggest success, well, the strategy of having our own bars, that vertical integration, is already proven to be quite successful. And it's really strange, actually saying this. Everything that we stand for in terms of our ethos, etc. Is the most important thing. Is family, the ethos, togetherness, the community, the spirit, the experience that people enjoy when they come to visit the brewery or our bars. The beer is almost secondary. It sounds daft to say, but it's what brings everyone together. But being part of the community is first and foremost the most important thing. That's our biggest success, really.
And what's been the biggest failure that you've managed to
Failures,
overcome?
Yeah. There's lots of them.
Is that just in the new batches that you make? Is it?
You'll always get a beer that maybe doesn't turn out quite right.
And what happens to that?
It might not but made. So, for instance, we have a facility, which is our own beer houses now, to be able to put a beer on that hasn't kind of worked out quite right as a trial tap. So,
right.
Those there aren't many failures anymore. So
you didn't bring those today, did you?
We didn't. No, we didn't. No, but our guys, our brewers are so talented that every beer they make is spot on.
Yeah. And who can you name at this moment in time that you're hoping to collaborate with?
We've got a couple of things coming up. We have a new project which comes online in April 2020. That is with a company who operate franchises within airports, etc. So we have a bar opening up in Manchester Terminal 2, which is part of the new super terminal.
Right.
That's coming online soon. I'm trying to think of others. We've got a few other local breweries that we're going to possibly collaborate with. And we're always looking for different opportunities.
You're looking for something niche.
Not necessarily. No. We're if people see that if what we're doing, aligns with what they want and how they operate as well, then we'll definitely, be really interested in working with them. More recently, we've opened up negotiations and talks with Media City, which is right by the brewery.
Yeah.
Because I know the Media City, they have a 10-year expansion plan. Over the next 10 years, it's going to triple in size. Media City's got a sense of a corporate identity at the moment, and they want to flip that into more of a community-based outlook and perception from the general public. And they want us to be part of that, and we likewise as well. We want to be part of it.
Is this what you said about Merseyside and Liverpool and Peel Holdings, I suppose?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're going to be opening up a beer house in a lot of the major cities within the north to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's it's essential that we engage with the community straight away. That's probably the most important thing.
And Keith, who inspires you and why?
From a business point of view.
Both probably. One for the mental side of it that keeps you going, and the other the financial, I suppose.
I get really having such a large family helps massively. They're a great inspiration. Parents undeniably a massive inspiration. Because as well as the seven brothers, we have four sisters as well.
I was going to mention that after. I couldn't walk away from.
So we're from a huge family, and we might talk about our sisters' venture as well in a minute. But our parents had their own businesses the whole lives, and still do to a certain extent. And so they're a massive inspiration, But from a business point of view, I'm hugely inspired by the likes of Richard Branson, for instance. There's plenty out there that kind of, that's the way we want to do business. That's the way we want to behave. That's the way we want to be perceived. There's plenty out there really.
And how come you never took this on Dragon's Den?
We thought about it.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
Maybe the Dragons always ask for too much equity in the business. I don't know. That could have been part of it. But it wasn't. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. The right model.
Did you think that you wouldn't have total control? Or?
Not necessarily, no, because I do believe some of the Dragons, can be quite hands off, and that they invest in people more. So maybe, and especially the management. It just didn't feel right, which is why we didn't go down that route.
So tell us about the Four Sisters Gin. Did they feel left out because
probably
you were doing beer and
probably probably all this attention we were getting maybe thought, what, if they can do it, we can do it better.
Yeah,
and they're probably right. A business run by four women as opposed to a business run by seven blokes. I know he's going to be more successful. It's not us, but they're doing great. They're doing great. They're almost 2 years into their journey, their business. Going through all the heartaches and issues that a startup has right now, so we feel for them. But they're doing well, doing really, really well.
Are they going through the crowdfunding like yourself?
There isn't a plan to do that yet for them. It's been muted, but I don't think there are any concrete plans right now.
But you've got the fantastic outlets for them to
of course, absolutely. That goes without saying. Luckily, what they make is incredible, so that makes it quite easy. It's exceptional, the spirits they make. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Keith McAvoy, thank you very much for the interview. I've waited so long to do this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers, man. Thanks.
Thank you.